Defending isn't always easy, I know that, but the problem is that most of us probably have to do it at some point when we play a football match. But what if I told you that there are a couple of tips that can help you significantly improve your defending that I'm going to share with you today? So here are 30 minutes of tips on how you can improve your defending and be really hard to beat. The first skill that a modern defender should possess is awareness. Now, this is one of the most important things to get good at because it can help you in all aspects of the game. Now, you do this by keeping an eye both on the opponents and on your teammates. To get better at this, try to, when you practice, always know where most people are on the pitch. Make some habits for yourself to always look around and spot potential dangerous situations so you learn how to anticipate both attacking plays but also potential runs from the attackers a lot better. So the more you know, the easier it is to prevent. So look around you, it helps. And for the second skill, we have controlling the offside with communication. As you know, communication is pretty important. Now, as a defender, you are in control of the attackers, or at least you're in control of the area they need to stay in before the ball is passed. And the key to controlling that area is communication. In fact, once you get good at guiding your teammates, defending gets a whole lot easier. But of course, you also need to learn to spot a potential through ball coming and then call for the defensive line to push up and catch the attackers offside. And then of course, follow suit yourself. And once you get good at luring the attackers to make a run, but then you step up before the pass comes, it will be extremely annoying for the poor attackers. So modern football is hugely based on a strong passing game, and often we see attacking plays begin with the defenders. So you'll need to be good both at long passes where you bypass the midfield and send your attackers running, but also the medium or short distance passes to your defenders or midfielders. As a defender, losing the ball because of bad passing precision is a pretty bad situation, so you should really practice getting good at it. For instance, trying to hit a target from different distances. It's all about consistency here, so make sure that you do it again and again and again. For the fifth skill, we have interceptions. Now, those are an important part of the defender's game because it breaks the rhythm of the attacking team. Being good at interceptions takes a lot of experience and a good amount of brain power because you need to read your opponents and figure out what their next pass is going to be before they even realize that you read their minds. A tip to getting better at this is to try and figure out the preferences of the opponent's midfield and attackers. Do they like to drop down or maybe run wide to receive the ball? Figure out these patterns of the opposing team and punish them for sticking to the same old patterns or habits all the time. Basically, if you can see a midfielder angling his or her body to make a pass in that direction, that's probably what they're gonna do. So step in, be ready to cut off the passing lane, and take the ball. Easy. Now, reading your opponent is also an important part of being good at the next skill, which is tackling. Now, when you decide to make a tackle, you have two options. Either you watch and follow your opponents and wait until they make a mistake that you can punish, or you try to guess what their next move is and then you take the initiative yourself. But your default should always be to wait for a mistake. Because with this method, you make sure that you're not completely beaten or exposing yourself, allowing the attacker a straight run at goal. But if the opponent doesn't make any big mistakes, you have to make the tackle at some point. You can't just let them run, can you? But if that's the case, you have to try and be as unpredictable for the opponent as you can. And if you want more tips on tackling, go watch this video on how to be an attacker's worst nightmare. For the final skill, we have doing skills. And yes, you might wonder what on God's green earth skills have to do with being good at defending. But I'm actually thinking of one skill that every defender can use because you are most likely facing attackers. They're attackers for a reason because they're not necessarily very good at defending or reading your game. So here, you can do the outside step over. Now, you do this skill move by faking going one way, but step over the ball from the outside in without touching it. Now, here it's very important to sell the move, so drop the shoulder, make that little body feint, and when the opponent is hopefully tricked, rather easily because they are attackers most of the time, you go back and get the ball and head in the opposite way. You shouldn't do this all the time, but if skills are used with caution and care in the defense, it's one of the most effective things you can pull out of the hat, because again, no one will be expecting it.
So Adam, the first thing we need to look at is one of the two sides of becoming a heading monster. That is the defensive side, right?
Yep.
You get a long ball coming towards you. There's a striker, physically imposing striker, like myself, right? But and then you go and do that. You clear the ball, right?
Yes, of course.
Like I'm not a central back, but still it looks like an art form, right?
Yeah.
Timing, jumping the right way, how you connect with the ball. Where do you start?
So I think personally is making contact.
Okay.
You need to establish your position as a defender with the striker.
Okay.
Now, as a striker, we are trying to flick obviously towards your goal. You want to score goals. As a defender, I want to clear my lines away from goal, of course. So if I can establish, first and foremost, goal side, easy. Everyone knows this. We learned this as a kid, right? So
always behind the striker.
Yes, of course. So if you are going to flick, you're jumping back. First thing is position.
Sure.
I don't want to be square. I prefer to be more side on to create this space so that I can also use my body weight. As I'm watching this ball coming in, I lean, I can then separate, and then I'm able to then attack.
Right.
So that's giving me protection. I'm winning my space. By giving me space, I have more timing. I'm keeping my line, I'm keeping my line, I'm keeping my line. As this ball's coming, I then release so that I can then attack.
So you can move forward, get momentum, and get higher.
And then that ball is cleared, obviously further away from our goal.
So what I also feel was that you kind of use your arm. You're not basically straight up pushing me, but you're using your body weight to just nudge me almost forward, put me off balance, so that if I'm going up, I have to go backwards. You're coming with forwards momentum. You go higher.
It's very simple. Even if I'm in a position to where I know I can't win the ball, just by me setting you off balance, I've mistimed your jump as well. That ball can just go through to my keeper. So.
But it's just a little bit for me counterintuitive, and that's what you need to remember. The whole thing about backing up, creating that space for you to just gain that momentum, just jump into it basically, get them off balance.
And even if it's just lean, half step, then that's it.
So you basically just need to get that so you can come
it's just as if we were going to change direction.
Right.
You have that outside leg to push off of. Same thing. Because I'm side on, I've created that space, just about that half step, I'm up.
That's the cheat sheet right there, guys.
And no dark arts.
No dark arts.
We haven't even done anything like that.
But don't push. That's the thing. Don't push, right?
I mean, giving up a free kick here is dangerous. So anything like this, we're in trouble. So that's why it's always forearm and then maybe a slight lean, because obviously defenders typically are a little bit bigger. We can use that body weight to offset that striker, throw off balance.
Oh, if he does that, I'm gone.
Would never do that to Jay.
No,
Never.
I know.
So lean, release, yes. Very good.
Feel that. Because if I was jumping here, the ball would already be too high.
Exactly.
So about hitting the ball, where would you go?
I would always say like if you had a third eye, essentially, right there, right smack in the middle of your forehead, and obviously keep the eyes open. It's hard, it's counterintuitive, but I promise you avoid kind of the beak, the shot to the beak. And also, I see a lot of like chicken necking a lot, like trying to like reach for the ball. And of course, if you've jumped and mistimed and you're already stretching for that, that thing's just gonna shoot straight. So I always think of like, you're kind of tucking your chin and then kind of pushing out your jaw a little bit as you're making contact.
So that's where the power comes from, also just releasing. Okay.
And of course, the timing of the jump is so important. I mean, you could pretty much not do anything with your neck, and as long as you're getting under the ball and you're kind of going up an upward trajectory, that ball's gonna go. Defending is an art too. I'm here to prove it.
Okay, so that's when the ball is coming at you. You're not inside the box. But another thing is, if there's a cross coming in, I'm chasing, you're chasing, How do you approach that?
So if we're kind of at the top of the box here on the 16, we want to follow where the ball is going with how we obviously don't want to drop that line too early to avoid offsides, keeping people onside and things. So we're following the ball, we're running. Obviously, when we get to a point to where we see that a ball could be crossed in, this is when we start worrying about how we are facing and our hips and shoulders. So if we are here, I'm obviously blind to what is going on behind me. So it's just slight open the hips. Now I have everything in front of me, makes everything a lot easier to defend and attack. So depending on the ball that comes in, we obviously, if it's coming first post, I can then attack forward. That ball is slightly going second post, I can simply drop and maybe help just continue that ball on.
What if the ball comes then goal side of you? Which is the area where you'd say, okay, I'm gonna leave that for the keeper. And you know, because then rushing back and, you know, just trying to get a connection, if you mistime that and you know, you just like scuff the ball, there's a danger with the goal, of scoring an own goal.
I like to have a lot of trust in my goalkeepers and that they command their area. If you just want to use lines, the 6, of course, should be always theirs. I would say my job kind of ends here, maybe halfway between the penalty spot and the 6. Yeah, I think so much is more about judging the trajectory of that ball and knowing what is going on around you at all times. I think that's such a key thing in defending. And sometimes you don't need to be the one to make contact with the ball to defend. You know, it's strictly knowing your space and owning that space. And like we talked about before, even if I've put you off balance a little bit, not falling, of course, because here is higher.
Yeah, you don't want to do that.
No, never get those off.
Have you?
Of course,
okay.
yeah. I mean, sometimes you got to do what you got to do. But even me putting you off balance is enough to just, that ball just goes.
Distract.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah.
Okay.
A lot of ways.
Where's the point where you would say, okay, I don't want to risk it. I don't want to head it. You know, if you're too close to the goal and you just, you know, you got to get your head in there. You got to get your body on the line, right? And just clear it. But where are you going to say, you know, I'm just really worried about the whole scoring an own goal thing because you
well, so much of that is how we've positioned.
Right.
I was told if your hips ever go and you're facing goal, it's kind of this oh crap type moment. So that's like a big no-no.
Try and avoid that.
Yes. If you're ever sprinting towards your own goal or you've kind of turned inside your box towards your goal, something happened before or we're doing something wrong positionally or timing-wise.
And hopefully, if you are chasing back, the striker's chasing, hopefully the goalkeeper can then manage to come out before you have to come in and Hail Mary it.
You're basically running full tilt at each other and the keeper's able to just carry and counter.
So basically, your job in here, come, you know, good position and either just clear or just flick on.
Yeah, I would always say if we've dropped and my hips are open and I see that ball is coming in front of me, yes, kind of help it back to where it came from. If you have enough on it, maybe you can find a winger of some sort. If it's anything kind of where I'm going to be backpedaling, I would always say just try and help the ball onwards. Just up and out in a way. And just hope that it loops enough to maybe just go out for a throw or something like that. But yeah.
Are there any, you know, no-go zones where you can't hit the... I'm thinking just straight down the middle. Try not do that.
Anything you can to avoid anything through the middle. But if you do, make sure it's a lofty one. So at least there could be a second ball to win. If I'm always feeling that striker, I don't need to look at him. So if I'm here, I'm always watching the ball. As soon as you slip one way or the other, I at least had a hand on you.
You can feel.
You're here and I've felt you and you've moved this way and I've lost you. I know you've moved, so I can at least find you again with keeping my eyes on that ball. Exactly. Touch tight always.
But Adam, now the roles have reversed. Now I'm the defender, which sucks for my keeper, but you're the striker. You're here to teach us how to score more headers. Is it a different ball game? Is it some of the same principles? What's the deal here?
Yeah, the key word, timing. Timing those runs. And then of course, like knowing when the ball is going to be there. You know, some of the best strikers in the world were so good in the box. Just knowing where to be and when to be. And a lot of that is scoring headers. So.
One of the things I would really like to know what to do with is basically how you direct the ball and how you get that power on the ball. You see some of those, you know, the greatest headers in history, they just come up, you know, CR7, he leaps and then he just bow.
Yeah.
You know, there's the power, direction, and for me, you know, I'm really not very good at heading. And I just struggle, you know, connecting with the ball is like step one for me. Yeah. And that's where it ends, right? And I just close my eyes and I hope, right?
Yeah.
But it's like the...
Yeah.
It's difficult.
Yeah.
So what would you do if you say you have a winger out there, he's getting ready to make a cross?
Well, we always say it's easier to run forward than it is to run backwards. So timing, of course, and knowing kind of where you want to go. So much of it is getting in front of that defender. So maybe you're making a slight movement so that we can get in front goal side. And then, of course, you're talking about the redirection and the big snapping headers, or where you're towering over and you're kind of heading down into the feet of the keeper as they're doing their spread. A lot of that is how that ball comes in, and also where we are in relation to that ball. I always like the ones where, you know, you've made your fake and that ball's kind of just coming into you and you're just kind of running.
Right.
And you've just kind of ghosted that defender a little bit.
You make that movement with your head so naturally. It's just you come there and you just like, whoa!
Yeah.
I can almost see the ball just flying the bottom corner, right?
Yeah.
What's the secret? Does it come from the neck?
Yeah, of course. And like, again, knowing what you want to do as that ball is coming in and making that decision. And then also the ones where you kind of see the ball is those where you're heading down, trying to get over the top of the ball, is if the ball's kind of just clipped in and you set yourself, you got a good spring to you, and you're kind of heading down. And then, a lot of it, like the redirection stuff, you're using this, but if it's whipped in with enough pace, and you kind of like just kind of corner of the head it a little bit, it's a little cheat code, just kind of glance it on.
You've got to redirect it, basically. So again, it's coming from the neck, and you use your chin to kind of like, that's a joystick, right?
Exactly. So and then these two things, gotta have a...
That's the secret. Don't close your eyes, guys.
Yeah.
Okay, so we can clear the ball, we can score goals, but what if we want to keep the ball?
Easy.
Of course, it's super easy. If it was that easy, everyone would be doing it. I guarantee you I cannot just like...
Jay.
Yeah.
You have a good first touch with your foot?
I would say so.
Yeah, of course. You know, you receive, you kind of dampen the ball with your foot.
Sure.
Same thing with your head. Just kind of...
So your head is a pillow?
Exactly.
Okay.
That's how you should think. Just like you're doing like a chest control.
Right.
You kind of lean to cushion the ball.
Sure.
Stand, the ball kind of falls to your feet. Same thing, you're kind of pulling that head back to kind of cushion the ball and knock down so that get that ball to the floor and we can play.
So basically it's the neck again. Instead of tightening your neck, you just like absorb.
Yeah. Think of it like that.
Typically, that's something midfielders and strikers would do for hold-up play, right?
Yeah, no. Center back.
Yeah.
I would also say if we've committed a lot of players forward, we're in the attacking third, maybe a ball is cleared to try and get their lines up, and we want to continue this pressure, stay inside their area. I'm at midfield, just knocking it down into a central midfielder's feet. Again, open up, keep the ball circulating.
Yes. Would you rather do that than control it with your chest?
It depends on the ball. But yeah, I mean, obviously I'd prefer to take it on the chest and get it to my feet so that I can distribute. But yeah, not everything is perfect, so we gotta adjust always. This game is about situations, so.
Okay, my first tip is about backtracking. So, let's say the attacker have the ball, and then he attacks me. I should go back, stay calm, comfortable, and then when he comes, I'm ready to take the ball. So one thing to be aware of is when the attacker are dribbling to you, wait for the mistake, and then go in and snap the ball. You should not always backtracking. It could be a dangerous situation for your team when the attacker are coming close to the goal. So be aware and don't always backtrack.
To the cash when she walk. She look like a bad when she walk.
This is my tip number 2. Try to be physical. try to stay close to the attacker. So when he receives the ball, stay close. Try to be physical during the game at the attacker at his first touch. Then he will be scared for calling the ball because he knows that you will be right there when he gets the ball. This is especially good if the attacker are faster than you. You can be physical and play on that instead of the speed and the pace the attacker have. So my first tip is to get in the head of the attacker. So why is this good? It's good because it will make the attacker insecure and he will make mistakes. You can do some small things to get the mental advantage at the attacker. You can push him, hold in his shirt. You can do some small stuff that the referee do not see, but be careful. He could give you the yellow card for that. So another thing you can do is to celebrate the tackle. That will lower his confidence and it will also boost the morale at the team. So let's say the attacker are coming here, tackling, yes! Tip number 4 is about corner kicks. The most important thing when you are defending a corner kick is to stay close to the attacker. Do not give space. Try to be as close as possible so he can't get up to the easy goal in free space down with the floor, but also when he get up, try to get with him. Another thing you can do to the attacker when the corner kick are coming in is to push the attacker, get him out of the balance so he can't get the easy goal. Try to do it harder for the attacker to score a goal. As a defender at the corner kick, you have more leeway from the referee, but be careful for pull and push the attacker. The final tip is to lure the attacker to one side. You do this to get the control of the attacker of where he will go. So if the attacker is faster than you, be aware of being too close to the attacker. Stay with some space between the attacker and the defender. Then he cannot run away from you. So as a defender, put your shoulder outside here, open your legs, and then go like this. The attacker only way to go is this way. If you go this one, you can turn around and go like this, and then you have the control again over here.
Number 5, don't get too close. Try to avoid getting too close to the attacker in any circumstance, except for in the penalty area where there isn't too much space to run into anyway. That will give you more time to forecast his movements and of course to react. A good rule of thumb is to stay an arm's length away from the attacker. Number 4, run towards the goal. If shit happened and you end up in a running race, you might want to run towards your own goal instead of directly trying to catch the attacker. There will be backup sooner or later, and if you end up running directly after the attacker, it might not end too well for you. Number 3, show who's the boss. If you end up against your speedy opponent in an air duel, which, let's be honest, you're gonna win anyway, highlight a bit of your power so you can show who's the man in the house. It's a great way to get a mental advantage. Just remember, it's okay to hurt, but not to injure. Play safe, play fair. Besides, you don't want to let the team down by getting a red card, do you? And finally, number 1, play it safe. When you've got the ball, or in general your team is in possession, you might be pressed by the speedy attacker. And here, you need to make sure to let go of the ball early, play it safe, and get those boring secure passes coolly going between the defenders, showing that the speed and the rage is simply just a big waste of time.
All right, guys, let's go. Defending, what are we doing? What are we doing here? Defensive stance is the most important thing that you can do as a defender. If you are standing straight up like this, that won't work. So the first thing we need to do is get set. As a defender, if the ball is right here and we want to force them this way, your stance is like this. It's not sideways. If you turn sideways and they go that way, you will turn like this, and this is the #1 cardinal sin. You do not want to turn your back. Do not lose sight of the ball as a defender. So we get set, and our stance is like this, all right? Feet down, you're ready. So that way, if something happens and a defender moves this way, we can shift, all right? We can shift, we can turn like this, we can back forward, and we can come in like this to reach the ball, all right? So that's the very first point above everything before we even talk about the skill. The point at which you are gonna wanna reach in for a tackle is very crucial. You cannot just dive in. Everybody knows this. Against a skillful player, if they dribble at you and they start doing step overs and all this stuff, do not dive in, all right? That's the worst thing you can do. So you are gonna have to make a tackle, especially if you're close to goal. The closer you are to goal, the less risk you can take. So when do you step in? The time to step in is when the attacker tries to eventually make his move. What that looks like is, I'm attacking, I make a step over, and you know what comes after the step over? I press the ball, I push the ball out, and I sprint. That's when you strike, all right? It's not before the step over, it's not during the step over, because they can change, all right? It's right when they decide they want to move past you, all right? And that's what our skill is today. Something that Virgil van Dijk does extremely well, besides the fact that he's a beast and huge, good in the air and all the rest of the stuff, his one-on-one is perfect, right? I think in 2020 or 2019, he went the entire season without anyone getting past him, okay? And one of the things he did really well was waiting for the guys. Once they made the decision to get past him, he would step his body in, all right? And you guys can see those in all the clips that we're showing right here. So just to emphasize our point, if we call in an attacking player right now, so Brane comes in right now, big debut. Now, if he's in here and he's right-footed, we want to push him to his weak foot, which means that we want to angle our bodies this way. If we push him like this, he's happily going to go this way, take a shot, put it in the goal, whatever. So we get set up like this. Maybe this is also pushing him towards the sideline. The idea here is that once he does decide to try and go to his right, maybe he does a step over first, so he does a step over. We stop right there. Now, if we freeze okay, he's not made a decision. He could just as easily keep going this way, all right? So it's not time to bite. The time to strike is now. It's not just to reach my foot in and poke it out. We want to retain possession of the ball. That's what the best defenders in the world do. So now that he's done that, instead of reaching in, I reach in with my body first, all right? And you'll notice that from the clips that we have here, you reach in with your body first, that protects the ball. Now you can turn out, all right? You can go like that, whatever you want to do, it doesn't matter. But the first thing is, you want to do this. Now, if the ball is way over here, way over there, and you go and put your body here, that's gonna be obstruction. You're not close enough to the ball. If it's just right after, this is no problem. You can do this, you can shove a little bit. You're not gonna get called for a foul. It's a 50-50 challenge, and that's perfectly fine. That is the skill of the day. If you wanna retain the ball, and you want a ball like Virgil van Dijk, you will do that.
So there you go, my friends. 30 minutes of tips on how to improve your fending significantly by implementing these concepts. And obviously, you won't just go out and be Virgil van Dijk just by watching this video once, but take some of the concepts and apply them in training and then in matches, and hopefully you will see an improvement. But what should we teach you next? Let us know in the comment section right down below. Don't forget to subscribe, and with those words, I'll be signing off. Cheerio.